Hi, my name is James, and I'm going to tell you a true story that, after my 45 years, I still can't believe half, if not majority, of the things that I have learned and seen over the years. Like I said, my name is James. I'm 45 years old. My birthday is September 26, 1978. On that day, don't remember. What I do remember, I want to say I was around 5, maybe 6. I remember floating down, being carried by a white light with wings. And they're cradling me. I feel safe, I'm not scared. And they drop me off in what I thought was a field with a single tree. But it turned out to be an island, a brick island, with a tree growing up in the center of it. And what I considered my home, the projects of DeLand, Florida. That's DeLand, Florida. I mean, over the years of being there, I got to see a lot of things. I got to watch my little toy glow-in-the-dark dinosaurs. I got to watch them come to life. I got to be able to bring them to life myself. How I did it, I don't remember. But I remember bringing them to life. Having them move on their own. Walk, talk, play. And on the day we moved out of the projects, I told them I would come back for them. And there was a hole in my closet. And that's where I put them. And then we got on the back of my Uncle Irish truck to go to North Carolina. Oh yeah, that brings. I watched my Uncle Irie. I watched him walk through a door. Literally walk through a door without opening it. Or having anybody open it for him. And this was all in my early teen years that I saw this. I've watched other relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, make things appear out of thin air. And, my cousin Lawrence, he was like a pyro. I mean, this guy could make, this boy could make anything, just flame up. My little brother, that was the brain maker. I mean, all he had to do was get upset and it would storm. as I got older, I learned that we all have powers. We all have special abilities. But it's all in how you practice. Practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect. That's what I teach my kids. I have 8. I have 4 with this woman here. This is my ex-wife. That's me. And that's my oldest son. He's 22 now. That's my oldest daughter. She's 19. That's the twins. They're 18 now. They were a struggle because it was like society didn't want us together. Because no matter how much we fought to try to stay together, we struggled to keep a roof over our head, keep a vehicle, keep food in the house, keep the utilities on. We struggled, and we reached out for help. No one would help us because I was in the house. So they suffered until we got a divorce. Once we got a divorce and separated, she got all the help she needed for them. I got put on child support, in and out of jail. That's another story for another day. These are my babies now. That's my oldest daughter. That's my oldest son. She's 16. He just turned 10 on the 11th of July. Okay, yes. Miss Michaela is 8. And Miss Juanita is 7. I've been with their mom 11 years. The whole time we've been together. I'm not going to say it's been a struggle, but it seems like an uphill non-winning battle. Because I feel like, again, I'm fighting to keep my family together. When society just wants me out of their life. Right now, they're in a foster care system. Why? Because their mother came to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania for a visit and wind up getting their kids taken because my son was throwing rocks at cars. So for the last 3 years, I've been living in Pennsylvania. I came up from Florida because I was in Florida when she came here with my children. I came up when I found out that, CPS was involved in my household. Again. Because they were involved in my house once before. Because my son came home hurt. And we asked him what was wrong. And he told us that an adult, a teacher, closed his hand in the door. And I had a problem with that because anytime this little boy right here pushed a student, said a bad word, we got a phone call. Here, the same people that are calling me about my son causing problems is not calling me to tell me they hurt my child. So I went down there and me and the teacher had a discussion. And yes, I threatened them, telling them that the next time my child came home hurt or bruised, without us getting a notice, I was going to the news. Because there were quite a few incidences there that we felt like my son was being racially targeted. Not only because it was only like 3 other little black boys in his class, but he was the only one that we kept getting phone calls about. Now, I'm not saying I have the perfect child, but things that they were saying he was doing, we was not seeing him do. He was telling us he wasn't doing them. It was other children in the classroom. So then the mother, after talking to other parents of children that go to that school, we found out that the same problems was being, targeted at her son. So we went home, and the very next day, so we sent him to school the next day, which conveniently was, Christmas break. Christmas and New Year's break. We didn't have no incidences. We went and picked him up, come home, and that was it. I thought that was the end of it. So after the Christmas holiday, we had found an apartment, and the kids, they spent one night in their new bedroom. And because the thing was, we got the apartment maybe like a day or two before New Year's. And we couldn't move in because they had shampooed the carpets. That's what it was. So the carpets was wet. So we had to wait a day for the carpets to dry. We moved everything in. The first day, we all slept in the living room on the floor. The next day was the furniture came. The beds went in. My children took a nap. The very next day was school. They had to go back to school. So, we didn't want to transfer them because we moved to another town. So we figure we let them go to school, and while they're in school, we'll do all the transferring them to our jurisdiction. Well, we run around all that day transferring, getting them the stuff they need so that they can start going to school in the jurisdiction where our new house was, our new apartment. The new apartment was 223 East 21st Street, apartment 23, in San Bernardino, California. We took him, so we go to pick him up. And there's a police car in the parking lot. I mean, we didn't think nothing of it because every once in a while there is an officer parked in the parking lot. So we go into the office to, get my son. Well, no, we went to the classroom to get him. And they told us that he was in the office. So we go to the office. And that's when we find out that my son has a welt on the side of him, triangular in shape, bleeding, with pus. Looks like it was so fresh, it had happened maybe 20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes before we got there. Now, I'm pretty sure that wasn't the case. But I'm questioning what happened to my son. And first he said he heard it on the bunk bed at the house because they had brand new bunk beds. But he usually let me know when he hurts himself, especially when he's bleeding. Now, if he's no blood, he usually don't tell me. But this thing looked like it should have hurt it when it happened. So after talking to the officer who was trying to calm me down, it was agreed that Jalen would not stay home for that night. Was there a friend that we could let him stay at until a social worker could come and talk to us? Now, excuse my French, but this bitch walk into my house and tell me it looks like it was an accident. And if I sign this paperwork, if his mother signs this paperwork, this will all blow over and Jalen can come back home the next day or the day after. So we, like fools, we agree and sign the paperwork. They take my girls out of school and put them in the system. They took us to court and said that we signed the paperwork that said I admitted to physically abusing my son. So after fighting and fighting for a year and 3 months, we finally scruffled up money for a lawyer. The lawyer said if we'd have paid for her up front in the beginning, we would have been had our kids back. But now the case had snowballed so big, the only thing I could do was leave my home for my children to come home. So I did that. I slept in my truck for almost 6 months. The block I was sleeping on in my vehicle, it was a rough part of San Bernardino, California. And, you know, there were shootings like every other day. Mainly the police shooting in streets where people are walking, people are driving, children are playing. So I'm speaking out to the neighborhood. Yo, we need to do something about this. It shouldn't be right that police are out here killing, shooting where our kids are playing. I was sleeping on 9th Street. I don't remember the cross street, but if you go up a couple of blocks to 5th Street, there was a big park where most of the homeless slept, which is where I moved to when, in and out of sleeping on this street, on 9th Street, I had churches and I had other organizations that would, put me in a hotel for a day or two. They really couldn't afford much more than that because, one night was damn near $100. So, most of the time I slept in my truck, but there was nights I was able to get a shower, and Linda pretty much kept me fed. But after 9th Street got shot up while I wasn't there, the night I was supposed to be there, but the pastor of the church that we were going to, he paid for me a room that night. And luckily he did, because where I was parked, where I usually park at, every vehicle had a bullet hole, at least 2 in it. Whether it was the windshield or the door or the side view mirror, every vehicle on the side where I parked was rigged with bullet holes. So after leaving the hotel, I started sleeping at the park on 5th Street. That's when I started getting harassed by San Bernardino police. Because all the homeless people there were sleeping in tents. I'm sleeping in my vehicle. I don't know if they saw that as a problem or they just didn't consider me homeless, but I went to, what was I doing that night? Yes, the police told me I couldn't park inside the park anymore. I had to park on the outskirts. So in the process of him making me move my vehicle, I didn't park where he told me to park at. I was going to park in Linda's, parking lot, just to get away from them. But as I was leaving the park, he blue lighted me, pulled me over. As soon as he advised me to turn the vehicle off and drop the keys out the window, before I could throw the keys out the window, I don't want to say the sergeant, because he was present, but these 2 motorcycle cops were the ones that were harassing me in the park. He pulled me out of my vehicle and started slamming me against my vehicle. Then he put handcuffs on me and asked me what I was doing out there. So, I got smart right back and I said, well, you just told me I had to leave the parking lot where I've been sleeping at for the last 5 months. So I was going to find another parking spot besides where you suggested I should park. Because where he suggested I park, they had already found 4, 5, maybe 6 homeless dead bodies. Homeless people, dead bodies. Why would I park there? But that's getting beside the story. So after getting smart with him, he told me he was arresting me because I was DUI. Now, I haven't touched any alcohol since 2016 when I buried my mother. But I was guessing that was the only thing that he could get me on. So I went to jail. And I'm thinking I'm going to get out the next day. So I go in there, find me a little spot on the bench where ain't nobody sitting. I go to sleep. No, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I wake up and I got 3 green Ninja Turtles. I got policemen. Full riot gear. Helmets, everything. All of them got 2 phone books in their hand and they're just hitting me. Boom, boom, boom. Hit me all in my chest, all in my arm. They wouldn't hit in my face though. And I woke up and it was morning. It was the next day and there was people in there again. It was other inmates. No, I'm wrong. I woke up because somebody was nudging me. They said, hey, are you James? I said, yeah. They said, yo, they calling you. So I got up and that's when I noticed it's like 4, 5 people in here. I came in, it was like 2. It was like me and another person. So they tell me, well, we're going to release you and you need to come to court. I said, okay. They gave me my belongings and they sent me walking. My plan was to walk back to Linda's house and try to figure out a way somewhere for me to go so I'm not sleeping in a tent on the side of the road. As I walk out of the jailhouse parking lot, 2 police cars pass me. As I get on the main boulevard, the main strip, I notice this police car just keeps going. He passes me and then he go up a couple of blocks and he cuts down one of the side blocks and then he comes back up again behind me. So I'm feeling a little eerie. So I get my pastor on the phone and I sit there and I tell him about the ass whooping I received in jail from police officers. And then I tell him about this police car that's following me. So he had me to go in a store and wait. And his name is Pastor JT. But he had me go in a store and wait. And I want to say about 20 minutes, his daughter comes in the store. She says, James, come on. You ready? This man put me in a hotel for the weekend. He came and talked to me. He let his daughter put me in the room, get me all set up in the room. And then she left. He called me about, I want to say about 2, 3 hours after I was in the room. He said, "Mr. Taylor, I'm going to be honest with you." He said, "I'm having some real bad thoughts about you right now. And I really think it's smart if you just get out of town for a little while." I said, "Pastor, I'm not going nowhere as long as my kids are here." This man said, "Mr. Taylor, listen. I really think if you stay here any longer, San Bernardino police are going to kill you." Flat out. So I tell Linda what's going on, because she's wondering where I'm at, what's going on. I got out that Saturday morning. That Saturday night, I was in a hotel. I stayed there until Monday morning. Monday morning at 6:40 a.m., I was on an airplane going to Florida. Now, the plan was for Linda to, get the kids back. Oh, 29 days after I left my house, my son came home. A week later, my daughters were home. Now, I'm in Florida and she's in California. She stayed in California until the case was over with. I get a phone call. She says, "I'm in PA." Well, no, I'm wrong. I get a phone call from my daughter who says, "Hey, we in PA, where are you? Can you come pick us up?" I said, "Yeah, I'm on my way." Their mom snatched the phone. She said, "I was going to tell you that I was coming to PA for a visit." I said, "How long are you going to stay?" She said, "I don't know." I said, "If it's for a visit, you should know how long you're going to stay." Well, my mom has this, she says, "Oh, well, my mom has this job set up, so I was going to try it out." Meanwhile, the whole 2 years I'm in Florida, I'm working on a foundation for my children. I didn't have a big fancy house, but I had a little old trailer that all of us could fit in. Sleep comfortable, eat, use the bathroom, shower. Long story short, I told her I didn't want nothing else to do with her. If it wasn't about my children, don't reach out to me. Don't call me for nothing. I get a call 8 months later. She's calling me, telling me she needs my help because CPS is taking the kids. So I come to Pennsylvania. I go to her house on Scott Street. Now, mind you, when I first walk in, I get this odor of garbage. It hit my nose as soon as I walk through the door. As I'm looking around, it looks like a trap house. It looks like a place where dope dealers come and sell their drugs. And users get high on them and vomit and shit and piss everywhere. Now granted, I didn't find shit and piss everywhere, but the house was busted up. My children didn't have beds to sleep in. There was one fucking TV in the whole house. This is a 4-bedroom house. And there's only one TV. I go in the kitchen and there's 30 bags of garbage just lined up against the kitchen wall. I mean, I understand why my children was taken out of this house. So the first thing I do is I get in there and I get to cleaning downstairs. Then I go upstairs. Then I go to the attic. Then I reach out to CPS. I say, hey, listen, I'm here for my children. Show them my ID. My ID says California. I'm here for my children. I'm going to live in her house and take care of my children while she lives with her family members and fix this problem. They needed paperwork from me showing that I completed everything in California. I gave them the paperwork 3 different times to show I completed everything in California. Every time we went into the judge, in front of the judge, they couldn't find the paperwork. So I held the paperwork. I took my original copies to the judge. And they requested a mental evaluation on me. Okay, I would do that. The judge said, I want you to get a mental evaluation and find a house for your children. A year later, I found a place. I go back in front of the judge. It's not the same judge. This judge ain't even the same gender as the judge I originally saw. The original judge was an elderly man. The new judge, well, the new hearing officer, is a woman. And didn't seem like she liked me from the get-go, because she wanted to know why I fired the first court-appointed attorney they gave me. And that was because this guy wasn't returning my phone calls. He wasn't representing me the way I felt I should have been represented. So she, the judge, appointed me an attorney. And then she postponed the court hearing for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, I reached out to this man. I didn't get a call back. I didn't get a message. I didn't get nothing. So when we got to court and got in front of the judge, he still wasn't there. He didn't even show up for court. So when the judge asked me, well, when the hearing officer asked me, where's my attorney? I simply said he ditched me. He'd been ditching me for the last 2 weeks. My attorney calls the prosecutor's phone in the middle of court. So the judge, the hearing officer, made him put it on speaker. She told him to hang up the phone and call me right then and there. Right there in front of the judge, the hearing officer, I told his fuck ass, You ain't got enough respect to call me. The only reason why I answered your phone call is because the judge told you to call me. But I don't want you representing me. I will represent myself in this case. And I hung up the phone. And I said, yes, Your Honor, anything else? She said, how do you feel you're going to represent yourself? You know nothing. I said, I know what's going on here is wrong. And from that point on, I have not been able to talk in her courtroom when I do show up, if I show up. Now, not only do they want me to do another mental evaluation, but they want me to take anger management classes. They want me to take domestic violence classes. And they want me to take drug screenings for a case that everyone has been rooting for it to be over with, because we deserve our children. And these are people that they are hiring to supervise me. They have went back numerous times, writing letters, posting emails. Mr. Taylor does not need to be supervised. We are no longer going to supervise him. That was Catholic Services. They refuse to supervise me because I don't need it. But CPS want me supervised. So they found another company to supervise me, who is already saying the same thing. They don't see a reason for the supervision. Almost 3 years of me being supervised with my children. How many incidents reports? 0. How many inappropriate adult child behavior? 0. So, the end of January, after making Linda move out of the 3-bedroom, we just got for our children. They paid for her, made her and paid for her to move into a 2-bedroom. And they gave her my children back. Luckily for me, it was on the same street I lived on. So the supervised visits were done in my home, in their own rooms. That's when Catholic Services refused to supervise me anymore. They walked out. They told us from that point on, they would write it up. They were here, but they're not going to be here. They don't feel my children are in any way, form, or fashion in any harm when they are around me. Well, Valentine's Day, they came to my house. They said, Mr. Taylor, we are extracting the children from Linda. I said, really? Why? Why come to my house to tell me you're taking my children from their mother? Well, because we wanted to inform you there were some allegations that we got to look into. Okay, what are the allegations? Well, first thing I did when she walked out of my house, because I let them walk all through my house so they didn't ask to, but I wanted them to see that nobody was in my house because I figured that's why they were coming. Because, why else would she be coming to my house? So, I get on the phone with Linda and I'm like, yo, Linda, where are you right now? She was at Walmart with the girls. Jalen and Tata. No, Tata was at the house. She was at Walmart, on her way to Walmart with Jalen and the girls. So I told her, I said, turn around, bring your ass to my house, come through the back door. She says, why? What's up? I said, Cindy is looking for you to take the kids. She says, why? I said, I don't know. This girl calls me back. And do you know what she tells me? Cindy told her that I was living in her house with my children, even though I had my own place. Somebody told them I was living with her. I moved in with her. I lost my place and I moved in with her. So I sent Cindy a nice long text. Voicing my opinion. And how I saw it as an excuse to take my children again. So I went and spent $1,500 for a lawyer. Just for the lawyer to tell me I need to do what these people say regardless if they're right or wrong. I told that lawyer to his face, how can I raise leaders? And that's what I'm raising, leaders. I'm not raising followers. I'm raising leaders. How can I tell my leaders to lead and they're watching their parents follow? And the people that they're watching their parents follow is lying to them and showing them false truths. I said that to say this. I don't care who you are, whether you black, white, purple, green, whether you walk on 4 legs, whether you walk on 2, as long as you got breath in your body, you deserve respect. If you don't get your respect, you demand your respect. An ant on the ground deserves respect. Why? Because it's got to live too. It's got to eat too. It's shit just like you shit. So why shouldn't it get the same respect you want? Right now, I'm still dealing with this case. I'm dealing with this $1,500 lawyer that just keeps continuing this case when I already told him I want this case removed from this county and moved to a different jurisdiction because I feel racially targeted, racially profiled. I'm personally biased by the hearing officer, And Linda was racially targeted so that our children can put an extra couple of coins in some people's pockets. The same woman that is over this case was out here 15 years ago when the whole Kids for Cash thing was going on. Think about that. She's over our case. Her apprentices are handling our case. We have told people have told us, go to the news. Go to the radio station. Get your story out there. People will listen. Somebody is going to reach out. They're not going to let you lose your kids. You're good people. You're good parents. Well, guess what, guys? We got 2-3 more months. Tops.